is up, beautiful readers? It's Sky, and we're back with another video. Hey everyone, how are you doing? I'm actually really excited to film this video because we're going to be discussing one of my favorite things to do as a reader, and that is annotate my books. So I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I was always told, especially because a lot of the books that I had came from my local library, that you cherish your books. What I mean by that is you don't write in them, you don't eat around them, you don't drink around them. They are like little babies, and you have to make sure they look pristine at all times. And while yes, especially with a library book, I think that is important because, you know, someone else is going to be reading it after you. If it's in your own library, I definitely think it's okay to give it a little bit of extra loving, you know? And the first time I actually came across the idea of annotating and writing in my books was in my high school English class. So I took AP Honors English in high school, and I've showed you guys these before, but most of these books on this shelf I actually read in that class. And so let me grab the Giver. Sorry, you're a little shaky. Let me grab the Giver. These are the copies I had in high school. I don't know if I annotated in this one. It doesn't look like I did. Lord of the Flies? I think I annotated a lot in that one. Yeah, so I did annotate a lot on this. My annotations in high school weren't as cool as I thought they were. I have, you know, this is old, guys, like old, because, you know, I'm 32. But I just highlighted simple notes. I always wrote in pencil because, like, see, everything's in pencil because I was scared if, like, I wrote in pen and if I spelled something wrong, I couldn't fix it, you know? So back in school, I would always write in pencil, but that was the only time I wrote in book. If I owned a book on my own library, I still had a hard time writing in them and annotating them. But as I got older and I started watching more BookTube, I saw that people were really making art out of their annotations, and I kind of fell in love with it from that point. So before we kind of get into how I annotate specifically, I want to talk to you about what it is I use. So the thing that I think might be the most important is this type of pen, because if you have the wrong one, it can bleed through. So I'm going to show you what works for me. Of course, you get whatever works for you. But I typically use these Staedtler 20 Tri-Plus Fine Liner pens. I got this pack a long time ago, but I usually just use these when I annotate, and the color that I use usually either matches the aesthetic of the book or the color of the tab that I'm using. So these are the pens that I use. They work great. I underline sentences and phrases with them, and I can write with them as well if I need to. But I typically write with this Pentel Rsvp pen. These are super cheap. You can get like a 4 or 3 pack at Target for like maybe $4. These are just very fine, write well. And so I usually always write with a black pen, and I highlight with these. Sometimes I'll branch out and use an actual highlighter, but that's very rare. I'm usually just underlining, I'm not like highlighting. Then, of course, one of the other most important parts of annotating are the sticky tabs. So let me show you what I'm working with here. So all of these I pretty much got on Amazon. These ones here, okay, so these are like a pack that you can buy on Amazon. They have a ton of colors, and I'll kind of explain my color coding system here in a second. But yeah, got these on Amazon. I like these because they come with a lot of colors, and the more colors for me, the better. I will say, typically for fantasy, I'm using these because I have a color coding system when it comes to fantasy specifically. Fantasy is the only genre where I actually have a system. Everything else is more aesthetic or, you know, whatever I want to do. But fantasy, I'm definitely using these for sure. When it comes to romance, historical fiction, Christian fiction, I'm usually matching the aesthetic of the book. And so I got these on Amazon as well, and I've actually run through quite a few of them. They're so pretty, and you'll see I have holes and I have gaps everywhere on these because I use them quite often. So these I got on Amazon as well, and I will do my best to try to link the closest, you know, brand that I can if I can't find what I actually got. But see, these are very aesthetically pleasing, you know? So like this had like red on it and stuff. There's some blues, some purples. This one is so pretty with the purples. Got some blues. I'll show you how I use those, but yeah, these are mostly for like contemporary romance, historical fiction, Christian fiction. I don't really have a system when it comes to these. And then these ones again are just extras because, you know, sometimes I use a lot of a certain color. And these I also, I believe, got on Amazon as well. And again, they're just little fill-in, like if I run out of a color on one of these kind of thing, I fill in with these. They just don't have as many colors as these ones, so I don't typically use them. But with the sticky notes and the pens, we're set. We are set to annotate, right? So how do I annotate? What do I do? So as I discuss this, I'll definitely include B-roll clips of kind of like what it looks like. But I annotate in two different ways. The first way is simply the sticky tabs will match the aesthetic, and then I'm just highlighting things that I like. There's no rhyme or reason. It could be a scene, a quote, a moment. I don't have a key. It's just I highlight what I like. And so I'm gonna show you two books here that I have where I did that. The first is Where the Crawdads Sing, and you can see I use those pastel sticky notes. I have this like, let me show you. I have this like peach color here. And this one I actually highlighted in, which is kind of funny because I typically don't do that, but I did that in this one. And I had this blue color because it kind of matched the front here. So that's what I did for Where the Crawdads Sing. And again, there was no rhyme or reason. I just highlighted what I liked, and you can see I wrote with that black Rsvp pen that I got. So that's that. This is another book, The Gilded Wolves. I really liked this book. It's been a while since I've read it, and I need to finish the other books in the series. I just haven't gotten to them. But again, this is just all aesthetic. So there's a green, purple, gold aesthetic. So I went with green, purple, and yellow on the tabs. And this one was a while ago. But again, there was no rhyme or reason to how I annotated. It was just literally anything that I liked. And then I wrote my thoughts in black if I had any. And you'll see flip throughs of these as I go through my explanation. This I actually had a little bit of highlighting. I must have really liked that quote. But for the most part, it was just the sticky tab with the pen. Okay. So that is an aesthetic, just kind of fun annotation style. Next is where I get into my fantasy, where I go in depth. So I don't do this often. I only do this with books I've either reread and really liked, or books that I just have a feeling that I'm going to really enjoy. I don't typically, well, I don't at all annotate every book that I read, mainly because it would take way too long to read these books, because when I annotate, I like to take my time. So for the most part, especially with my key, I only annotate usually fantasy, but mostly rereads are books that I know that I'm really going to like. All of those aesthetic ones, I'll do it for books that I'm reading for the first time because it's not that intense. I'm just highlighting and sticky tabbing. It's easy. But let me explain what I mean. So I read Serpent and Dove during quarantine, and back in 2020, I had a key for this, I did, but I lost it. So I don't remember what my tabs were, but I did highlight this the first time I read it because, I don't know, I just had a feeling that I was gonna like this. And you can tell that I kind of did. And so, you know, I have my tabs, but also you can note that in a lot of my books, I have tabs at the top. And if there's a tab at the top, that means I really enjoyed the scene or the moment. So with this one, I underlined in the same color as the tab and wrote in my black pen as I usually do. And yeah, it was a great time. This one, again, it was in depth, but I don't have my key. So I can't really explain it. Plus this was 2 years ago, so I'm sure my key has changed. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you an introduction to my in-depth annotation. Now, this is an example of a reread for me. So, if you don't know, I love Divergent, and I just have a little Divergent trash heart. And I just really, really relate to Tris, and the story has meant a lot to me. I have a tattoo. I have the same tattoo as Tris. It's just a character that I really related with as I was growing up. And so I've reread Divergent multiple times, and this year, actually, the 10th anniversary editions of the books released. I only have Divergent right now, but I am gonna get the rest. And so I thought it would be cool to reread these covers and annotate them. And I annotate. So this one, I read this at the beginning of the year of this year. And I lost my key again because I was putting them on. I'll show you my updated way of not having to deal with losing my key, because I was writing them on like note cards, but then I was using the note card as a bookmark. And then when I finished the book, I was losing the bookmark. And so it was just, yeah, it wasn't my best. It wasn't the best way for me to go about that, but it's fine. So with this, you will see like how I'm matching the highlight with the sticky tab, and I'm just enjoying this. I'm soaking it in. I'm appreciating the story and the parts that I love. And like, honestly, I highly would recommend doing this with a book that you really enjoy, because it is like you're just really diving into the book again for the first time and just embracing it for why you love it, you know? And again, if there's anything at the top, it's like the scenes that I just like, that just touch my soul, you know? And so this is an example of a reread for me, and there are a ton of tabs all around, and it's just like the best time. You can also annotate a book you read for the first time, and that's what I'm doing with The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Oh my goodness, this is turning into one of my favorite books, and I can probably say going to be one of my favorite series ever. I am having a blast. I am reading this book for the first time, and this book, I actually inserted my key at the beginning of the book. Finally, we've learned our lesson. Again, you will see B-roll footage of everything as I'm talking about it, but let me just go over my key with you. So red is angry, pink is love, orange is funny, yellow is important or foreshadowing, green, dark green is world building, blue is sad, and this like white, light pink color is amazing writing or quotes. So I am only 150 pages into this, and you can see, just a blast. Again, I'm doing my typical match the highlight with the sticky tab, and I am just having, look at this page, so many highlights. I'm having an amazing time reading this, and I'm taking my time with it. Again, this is the first time I'm reading it, so I am looking forward to when I finish and then I reread it and I can say, wow, what did I pick up on? What did I see the first time I read it? You will notice though, there are not as many tabs at the top. I do have two, right? Two like scenes that I just absolutely adored or I thought were super important. And I have those at the top there. But for the most part, it's just me enjoying this book. And honestly, I just like the way the tabs look when you're all done with the book. And it's funny because at the beginning of each chapter in this book, there is a world building section. So I'll show you. There's like this italicized paragraph usually, or a page of world building. So that's cool kind of to see that trend in her books. But oh my gosh, if you have not thought of reading Robin Hobb or even attempted to pick this up, I would highly recommend it. So that is going to wrap up my How I Annotate video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you annotate, let me know how in the comment section down below. If you don't, let me know in the comment section down below. I know writing in books is something I feel like we all were kind of told is kind of not something you're supposed to do when you're growing up, but I promise you your books are going to be fine, and you might appreciate it even more if you do, but if you don't, hey, that's okay too. If you have a specific key or a certain style when it comes to your annotating, please let me know in the comment section down below. Again, annotating is a form of art, and I mean, I'm not an artist, but I've seen people draw the scenes on chapter pages. Like, people have really just taken the process of annotating and making it their own, and that's what it is about, because honestly, that's what reading is about. So that's going to be my video. Thank you guys so much again for taking the time to be here on the channel. I really appreciate all this love and support you've provided so far. I hope you have a great day, and if anything else, please know that God loves you and your life has a purpose. And until the next video, I'll see you around. Bye.